All right, good morning, everyone. Let's get going. Um, okay, you can see obviously yesterday U.S. markets had an enormous day on the back of the likely solution on the debt ceiling and even possibly on the budget negotiations between Obama and House Republicans. They haven't actually agreed on terms so far, but they kind of vowed to stay up through the night to try to make a deal happen. And obviously, it's looking like a deal is likely, and the market's screaming that at us. Anyone who wasn't completely convinced that this sell-off was due to the debt ceiling fears has now been proven totally wrong, and I think you can, without doubt, say that that's what the market is really, really focusing on at the moment, and that it wasn't just necessarily a correction because we were due for a correction. We did have initial jobless claims yesterday. That was a huge miss, but I wouldn't put any weighting on that simply because of the possible effects of what the government shutdown could have done to that number. So I'll just kind of throw that one out on the day. And you saw things like the gold price kind of shake that off shortly after the number. We had Asian stocks that were up nicely. I think they're at highest points in 3 weeks. And obviously rallying a little bit on follow-through from the States. In Australia, that was up about 1.5% in particular, but we've got a long weekend ahead because of Monday's public holiday in Asia. So it's something that I think will be a bit of a delay there. All right, let's look at corporate action out today. We've got Wells Fargo and J.P. Morgan, both with earnings on the day. We're starting to get a little bit more into the meat of earnings season there. We'll obviously start to see by next week a big mix in terms of from the different sectors in the States, and I think that that's really going to have to be the driver into year end if we're going to be able to continue to kind of to go with this bounce in the States. We had the AMCU that settled with Amplats yesterday, workers returning to operations today. CEO Griffith said that the company lost about R1 billion in revenue during the strike. Obviously, that's quite significant, but I think they just priced that into all the local miners now. A few shares going to ex-divvy over the weekend. We got JDG, WBO, AVI, and CPI. A couple big ones, reasonably big ones there. So just keep that in mind if you're trading in any of those stocks today. On the market data front, we had Japanese domestic CGPI, which was in line this morning. We also had German CPI, which was in line. We've got Spanish and Italian CPI a little bit later, and then we've got Michigan consumer confidence numbers out in the States at 355 as well. So not a whole lot to look at today in terms of market data. All right, let's jump into the maps. Okay. First thing I wanted to have a look at is the DAX. The DAX just held up incredibly well going into, with this pullback. You can see there we really tested support, couldn't break down below support, and then we really flagged into that little support level, and we've just totally made a break out of that as yesterday, kind of up about 2% on the DAX yesterday, with all the European markets up about that much. Really just it refused to go down. I mean, just in that one session, I think we're only about 50 points, 60 points from recent all-time highs, and very close to closing highs, or all-time closing highs. So today I think we could definitely see an all-time closing high in the DAX, which is incredibly significant and shows you how resilient that was, even in the face of the U.S. market selling off the last couple of weeks. All right. Look at Fashini here real quick. Fashini, you can see here, it's just kind of very similar to Trueworths in that we made this big push up out of resistance. Obviously, we know that our 103 was the main level that we broke out from here. In Fashini, we've made this nice big push higher, kind of more or less to our target from the breakout here around 110. But now you can see there we've we kind of look like we're setting up into a continuation pattern, like and ready to break out in Fashini. 110 was definitely our level, and like I said, you can see we're not really pulling back off this 110 level. Looks like we're consolidating to push higher. We've pushed above the 200-day moving average here, which is just below 110. And I really think that we can, if we make a nice little breakout from this level, it'll be sort of possibly $7 to the upside here. Put us about 117 in Fashini. All right, let's look at Nedbank. I want to look at Nedbank. We'll look at it first here, really on the year chart, and then we'll also have a look in a second at the 30-minute. But you can see there we're really kind of flagging out of this break to the upside here. I mean, this thing has just been unbelievably strong and incredibly resilient for having such a hard run. And really, it's kind of flagging after breaking out to new highs. This is really bullish pattern, if you ask me. You can see it a little bit more clearly here if you look at the 30-minute, and the level very clearly defined in my mind at 107.50, which is literally where 207.50, which is literally right where we closed yesterday. Let me just get this down a touch, and you can see there that's 107.50, 107, call it 107.60. We closed at 107.50 yesterday, or 207.50. Sorry. The stock was trading a little bit above that at the end. We managed to only close it at 07.50. If we can get a close above 07.50, I really think we get a little bit more of a pop to the upside here out of Nedbank. Really, that sector has just been incredibly resilient over the last little while. Okay, I wanted to show Harmony. I'm actually going to look at the U.S. chart. Well, let's just do this. First, let's look at the local chart. And you can see here, something doesn't look right there. Okay, anyway. What's going on? Okay, there we go. You can see there that because of this little blip in the chart, it makes it look a little bit more, we did break down a while ago in the on the local market, but that just doesn't make it as clean, and so it's not as nice when you're looking at it in terms of a setup here. But when you look at the U.S. chart here, the level is incredibly clean, right here at $3.30, when we dropped that really in 2 sessions ago. And like I said, I mean, this is a really definitive breakdown in my mind. I'd really look at this that it has even potentially a whole nother dollar of downside in Harmony as it broke 330. So I wouldn't be surprised to see $2.30. You never kind of thought you'd be saying that, but this thing is looking really ugly technically. We're breaking out of a consolidation pattern going all the way back to June, and we're breaking out to the downside here. I think these things, they're hard trades simply because they're so low. They've sold off so much, but technically they are the right trade. So just watch that one. I think it, potentially could have further downside to come. On the back of that, let's look at Anglo Gold, which really, we talked about this one 2 days ago, and how, maybe it was trading down toward the lows of this pattern. So, but I think we have to watch this really closely, because there's definitely some sort of support here, trend line support level around 122 that it would have to drop somewhere between 122, 125, wherever you want to kind of peg that. But if you look at all right, let me just draw this a little bit better. Let's look at trend line resistance here, which is really quite clearly defined. You can see we've kind of right at, or maybe even broke out of that a little bit yesterday. Just zoom forward a little bit. You can see there we've kind of popped above that, and I think we're really at this little wedge has been narrowing now for the better part of 4 months. And I think that we're really going to get to a breaking point here in Anglo Gold and in Harmony, in Anglo Gold, and maybe not a bad one to pair up against a Harmony, a long Anglo Gold, short Harmony, something along those lines. But if this thing drops, call it 122, I think definitely you got to play it on the short side. But we could also break out of this downtrend, which would give it some significant room to the upside. So just watch this closely and watch that sector, because I think there's going to be good action there over the next couple months, as there has been. MMI, I'll just have a look quickly at MMI. Around this 24 level, I mean, we had a big sell-off a few months ago, and we had a great rally over the month of September. We've kind of been consolidating, and what we've simply done is just we flagged down into the support level of 24. And made a nice push higher. We've just broken out from that formation today, and don't see any reason why this thing can't trade back up to 25.5, 26. Breaking out of this pattern to the upside. So, and that's it for today, guys. Thanks a lot.